Hello and welcome to Scheibach Studio. You've been wondering for a couple of days about what kind of bicycle did Scheibach choose for his winter technique drills. So here you have it, this is the Red Beast. Can you read the brand and the model's name? Even though the paint, the color is quite loud, the graphics are actually understated. It says Canyon here and Spectral AL on the top tube. So we've got here Canyon Spectral AL 6.0 EX. That means this is the trail enduro type of bike with quite good components. And I'm going to share with you what I like about this bike, what I don't like about this bike, and what I'm not sure about this bike. It's going to be pretty interesting. So let's just start by saying that we have the aluminum alloy chassis with 27.5 wheels, and the price is just about 2,600 euros. I've been doing pretty much everything from cross-country like MTB marathon to some enduro ride on this bike, and also really steep climbs. You've got those episodes on the channel already, so I can tell you quite a bit about this bike. Okay, let's start with the things I do like about this bike, and the first one is the components. I really like when the manufacturers give us components that we actually know, and there is nothing that Canyon would just put their stickers on and we don't know what type of wheels, what type of hubs we have. Once more, aluminum chassis 140 mm in the rear, RockShox Spike RC 150 mm in the front. And then the crankset, one by drivetrain with race face turbine, if I spell it correctly. And then in the rear we've got SRAM GX derailleur with SRAM GX shifter, the 11-speed 10x42 teeth SRAM cassette and SRAM 1110 chain. We've got SRAM guide brakes with the SRAM rotors, 180 in the rear and 200 mm in the front, so nothing no name. Then we've got the reverb dropper post, which is really cool. We've got the SDG saddle, pretty comfortable. We have then race face 50 mm stem and 77 centimeters race face handlebars. So that's something you can do math on. You can know what how much actually those components would cost you. And also the wheels super important. These are DT Swiss M1700, love those wheels. In the front, high roller, Maxxis. In the rear, Maxxis Minion SS, both 2.3 in terms of the width. So I do love when the manufacturers don't save money on details, which was really cool here. Thing number two that I like about this bike is its kinematics and behavior. You know me, I have XC in my veins, in my blood. So when the cross-country rider sits on the bike that has 15 centimeters in the front and 14 in the rear of travel, the first things that will irritate him is the rear, travel, doing crazy stuff on the uphills, rocking and just wasting your energy. There is almost nothing like that happening in the rear. I wasn't being, pissed off by the rear kinematics of the rear suspension on the very steep climbs. I actually liked it pretty much. So this is really cool. On the descents, I've been just shouting. It gives you so much fun. So that is really lovely.
Lecę na krech.
I have not mentioned that the damper in the rear is the RockShox Monarch RT, which is really good. All in all, the components are great in my opinion. Also, both the tires and the rims are tubeless ready, and the tape is already there. So you simply take off those inner tubes, put some sealant, and you're ready to go with the tubeless setup. So I like all these things about the bikes. The reverb dropper post works pretty well. I was using it in -10 degrees Celsius, no problem for any of these parts, like the dropper post, the damper, and the front suspension would do pretty well in the freezing temperature. What I don't like about this bike is pretty much one thing, and it's the cable guides on the frame. I know I do talk about it pretty often, and I've read some reviews of these bikes where people were saying that this model is an example that the external cable routing can be done in a very good way. Well, it's not, because of rattling. You will hear that a lot when riding, so I don't like it. And also, I've been wondering, why do we have only 1, 2, 3 guides and the hole here? And after a couple of days, I found this in my studio. So I lost one of these because these housings have to take turn there to the dropper post and the rear brake. So I just lost it in my studio. Also, this one is already coming off, so this is not really good quality. And on the left side, the housing for the rear brake is just off the guide. Good news, it is something that Canyon could really fix, and I hope they will fix, and they will do something better that will still fit the model that you already have without, the need of buying a new one. So that's something I don't like about this bike. And finally, a couple of things I'm not sure about this bike. So what this really is this a trail bike or the enduro bike? Once more, 140 in the rear, 150 in the front. I'm not sure, and I would have even more problems, more difficulties to make a right choice, knowing that Canyon make also Strive model with 160, the real enduro machine, and they also make the Neuron with 120mm for 25.7 wheels and 100mm for 29er. So it would be really difficult to make the right choice. Now, you should not just follow my opinion, but I would rather go for something with even more character. So if I was to compete in enduro races, I would go for the Strive. Now, there is pretty good number of riders using Spectral on enduro races doing pretty well, but I will go for Strive anyway. It will be around 1.3 kilo heavier on the similar components and have more travel. And if I was to go more for trail, maybe sometimes marathon MTB, they will also have another model for that. But if I was to go maybe a bit slower on the downhills, then I would go for Neuron. So that's something that makes the choice not so easy. It's a good thing you've got 3 different models to choose from, but I can't imagine making the right choice just by looking at the bike online. You have to try it. This one on the descents, really good. Another thing is about the RockShox bike. I'm going to do another episode just about testing this one. 150 mils in the front, and I was pretty much surprised how easily I would bottom it out. So I would have to check my sack and adjust it twice, and I still put the maximum compressor on the charger here. And as you can see, still some of my rides will just end up by using a whole travel. I mean, like really bottoming out. I weigh 77 kilos. I was 77.5 doing those tests, so I'm just not sure about it. All right. And some other thing is also that, in my opinion, this bike is more for descents than the uphills. But then the drivetrain is pretty encouraging on the uphills because we have 30 teeth chainring in the front and 1042 cassette in the rear. On the 650B wheels with this setup, you're not gonna be going fast down the hill. If if the terrain is really technical, that's not an issue. But if you want to go really fast, feel that speed, then 30 teeth chainring in the front should be replaced with something larger. This is how it looks like from the non-drive side. I just have to mention here, because we see much more than on the drive side, those welds, very good quality. I do like these welds, very even, very smooth, good looking. Also those extremely difficult to be made, like these around the pivot of the damper, are really good quality. Okay, so these are my opinions on different things on the bike. Components, really good. Kinematics, really good. These housing guides should be just done better. Also this one here, just below the bottom bracket, it also moves like this. The shifting is still crisp, but this chain guide, this housing guide should be done better. And then 120 on Neuron, 140 on Spectral versus 160 on Strive. Not easy choice, but anyway, this is tons of fun on the Canyon Spectral AL. Thanks so much for watching. Waiting for you down there in the comment section. See ya.
Redneck.